This call is recorded. Well, dear friends, the topic of today's hour is all about the two products of the month, the Mushroom Power and the Forsythia 10. We're going to dive into the ingredients behind this product, what make this product so special. Why are they so special? And the speaker, again, is our wonderful Mary Esther Gilbert. I know Esther really well. We've been friends for many years. She has been an inspiration to me when it comes to wellness, when it comes to health. She has inspired me to be passionate about the industry of wellness, to understand the power of the natural botanicals. Esther is a nutritional physiologist. She's a holistic nutritionist. She is a writer of many books on wellness. She has her own True Health Mastery Academy. She also is a black belt in martial arts. I haven't mentioned this to some of you before. She's a wonderful mom and a loving human being. So Mary Esther, this is your time. So we look forward to learn from you.
Thank you, Lucy. Yeah, you know, the martial arts really keeps you calm. It's great for letting off steam and it's a great workout. But anyway, thank you for mentioning that. So yes, I'm excited to present to you the two products today, mushroom or fungal power, as it's also called, and the Forsythia. So I've been practicing, these Chinese names, so I hope I'm getting them all right for everyone today. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll get started on those. All right, gee, I wish there was some way to share more than one, but I'll go back, hopefully I'll go back to the other one successfully. Okay, so now, Lucy, I have a question for you. How do I show everyone, in addition to what I'm presenting here? I'd like to see faces. Oh, there you are. Good. Okay, that's excellent. Thank you. All right, so let's start with the mushroom power. It has 5 ingredients, and then we'll get into the other one. And let me give you a better view of this. So let me know if you can see that. I kind of prefer it larger, but let me know what you think.
I can see it. Can everyone else see it?
Okay, you know what? I think what I will do though, Lucy, is just enlarge it more because I want people to see the diagrams. And let's see how this goes. Ah, I like that better. What do you think?
Yes, it's better.
Okay, great. All right, so the mushroom power, the Pillscraft, also known as fungal power. The ingredients are put together, and the mushrooms that are presented in this formulation, they are known throughout the world. People in Italy, Greece, all over Asia, North America, and going back in our history, ancient peoples throughout the world really regarded these mushrooms as deep reservoirs of powerful medicines, quote unquote. And so I'm going to present the science to you. There's ongoing scientific research. It includes new methods of testing the activity, the biochemical compounds that are in the mushrooms. They contain the vast variety of essential nutrients the body needs, and they contain individual phytochemical or phytonutrient compounds. And those compounds are so important to our health. They address every single system in the body. They assist all these multiple trillions of biochemical processes in the body. So they've got also, when you put them all together, they join together, and there's even more, a wide array of these gigantic molecules at the micro level that the body is able to choose from to repair what needs repairing, to maintain what needs maintaining, and to detoxify what needs detoxifying. So the Pillscraft is a blend of 5 of the best mushrooms in the world. These are very powerful mushrooms: the reishi, the cordyceps, the shiitake, maitake, and hericium. So these are really highly valued mushrooms throughout the world. They're rich in so many different beneficial classifications of compounds. And as you'll see, as you go through here, you'll get tired of seeing these lists and lists of these wonderful compounds that are in these mushrooms. I'm not going to stop and pronounce every single one of them because that will double our time together. So I'll just show you, just to give you a sampling of what is in these wonderful mushrooms. So there's a classification called polysaccharides. They're really highly beneficial. Okay, so the formulation addresses the immune system. And so I just thought I would give you a quick chart so you can see all the different ways the body produces different types of immune cells. I'm sorry that the pictures are blurred. I try to get them sharper, but that was the best I could do. Okay, so the different systems in the body, you produce immune cells in the bones and in the lymph nodes. The lymph system is your other circulatory system, and that generates certain types of immune cells. Your spleen, inside your intestines, and just all these other lymph nodes that are all over your body. And so these are the different types of immune cells that your body produces, and it lists here, it's really small, but if you have when you print this out, you'll be able to read it, but this just tells what each type of immune cell does. Now, in this example, they used looks like a virus or bacterium, most likely a virus. But anyway, there's like millions of different types of viruses that humankind has been in contact with, all of our lives and for thousands of years. So viruses are not new to us. So your immune system, if you nourish your body properly and you provide your body with the right types of nutrients, then you will have a very strong immune system. So there's a whole holistic approach to your nutritional health management that you must do in order to maintain this very strong immune system. So if you download this in PDF form on your computer or on your phone, you'll be able to click around and jump to all these different things on the document. But of course, if you print it out and have a hard copy, then you'll have to flip through the pages. So the first one is the reishi, the Ganoderma lucidum. So I listed the amounts that are present and how much of the extract is taken from these mushrooms so that you can get an idea of what you're getting in your body. And I'm not going to go over those right now, but I did mention those in another previous video. So you can go back on there and see what these percentages and things like that mean. So the G lucidum its uses and beneficial effects are documented in the classical Materia Medica. It's also called the Shennong's Herbal Classics in China, and it's the Shennong Ben Chao Jing, written in the Eastern Han Dynasty of China, going back 25 to 220 AD. And it's been continuously maintained and extended up to this day. So it's not like it's an ancient document that is outdated or anything like that. It has been maintained. So this is a well-known mushroom. It's an impressive range of health protective benefits, which I'll go into right now. So I'm going to be presenting to you the strong scientific evidence. These are taken from databases, from the government databases and universities throughout the world that have been documented in thousands, literally thousands of scientific journals. So I'm just presenting to you in as concise a form as I can, because, oh my gosh, if you were to see these many scientific studies, then you would be so overwhelmed. Every time I do something like this, I get very overwhelmed from all the scientific data. So I look for peer review studies, which they do all of that for you. They gather the thousands of documents and they put together a review. So what I'm presenting to you today is mostly the reviews, okay? Okay, so the data supports that it's anti-cancer, blood glucose regulating, it helps your pancreas, it helps your system, antioxidant, which eliminates a lot of toxins and pathogenic organisms and other things that don't belong in the body, antibacterial, antiviral, and protects against liver and gastric or stomach injury. It's a good source of essential minerals like potassium and calcium and phosphorus, magnesium and selenium and silica and sulfur. These are all very essential minerals for your body to function. And also iron and sodium, zinc, copper, and manganese. So if your diet contains all of these minerals, then your body will be in much better biochemical balance. So it also contains many bioactive molecules. And here we go, get ready, because I just wrote down ones that were more familiar in the nutritional supplements industry, but science is continuously discovering more and more of these wonderful phytonutrient compounds. So the terpenoids, the steroids, or sterols, as they're also calling them, because they're plant-derived, the phenols, the nucleotides, and all of their derivatives like the glycoproteins and the polysaccharides. These are huge classes of major classes of, and there's so many subclasses of these biochemical compounds in plants. So the polysaccharides are especially noted in this group of studies. They're active, anti-inflammatory, they're hypoglycemic, so they help your body bring down excess blood sugar. They're anti-ulcer. They've got compounds and fluids in these plants that will soothe and repair the stomach lining. They're anti-tumorigenic, so they address any type of immune system problem that allows the types of tumors to form in the body, so they kind of prevent that from happening. Immunostimulating compounds, so they go in and they address the immune system, and they actually help the immune system work better. So the terpenes have demonstrated a lot of anti-inflammatory, anti-tumorigenic, and hypolipidemic activity. So they will help the body attenuate and utilize fats more efficiently, so that you don't tend to store them in the body, rather use them for energy or to distribute them in the areas of the body where fatty acids are necessary. So the G. lucidum mushroom contains all the essential amino acids. These are the building blocks for every single body protein you have. We're mostly protein other than water. So every single thing in your body besides your blood sugar is made out of protein and minerals, of course. So it's especially high in the two amino acids, lysine and leucine. So as far as knowing what all the amino acids do in the body, I can give a whole nother class on that because your body needs all of these essential amino acids to build new cells, new tissues, new structures, enzymes, hormones, all these things that your body produces, all these biochemical responses, they're all made out of protein. So you need these essential amino acids. So the mushrooms are one plant that is especially good for getting those. It's good for strengthening the immune system, and it's taken when undergoing conventional therapies for cancer. So if you're undergoing chemotherapy or radiation therapy, a lot of my clients that came to me with their health issues concerning cancers, I would just teach them about all these different antioxidant compounds in all these different plants. And mushrooms were extremely valuable for them because it minimized their side effects, like the nausea and the vomiting, things like that. So the polysaccharides is another classification, and the triterpenes is kind of a subclassification of the terpenes. These are major components in the G. lucidum, and it's been shown to exhibit chemopreventive and tumoricidal effects in numerous in vitro and in vivo human studies. So in vitro means they've got cells that the scientific community can access, like if you want a cancer cell and you want to test a certain biochemical from a plant on it, then they test it in the laboratory. So that's in vitro. But in vivo human studies or animal studies is when they observe the effects after applying the mushrooms to human subjects and see what their results are. So there's a very intricate process, of course, with the scientific method and things like that. And when you if you ever look at these scientific studies, they're listed at the back of this document. If you go in there and look at the elaborate types of procedures that these scientists go through to produce a conclusion, they start out with a hypothesis, and then they implement this really intricate set of testing, and really very elaborate, very impressive. And so, if you want to delve into that, then that's definitely at the end of this document. So the tumor cells were shown to be arrested in breast cancer cells, liver cancer cells, bladder, and prostate cancer cell cultures. They're called cell cultures. So, of course, science sometimes is limited to the laboratory, and sometimes they get to do, apply these tests to human subjects. But we've got thousands of years of use, and that were carefully documented, very intelligently and carefully documented in like the Chinese Materia Medica and in so many other cultures. So these are passed down from generation to generation, and you see the causes and effects, and it's very noteworthy. It may not be the formal scientific process, but it's very noteworthy to know that when the science matches the thousands of years of use, or even just centuries of use, then you've got something there, and it's worth trying out. So this is the group of scientists that I made a notation of. So at the back of the book, you can, the back of the document, you can look at this group of scientists here, which I'll show you later. So the caterpillar mushroom, it's called the Cordyceps sinensis in the Latin universal scientific term. So everyone throughout the world knows which plant we're talking about. So of course they have many different types of common names, but it's the scientific word, name that always can identify a specific plant. And this is universal. So this is what it looks like in the ground. And this is what it looks like once it's taken out and dried up. And now you know why it's called a caterpillar. So I think I mentioned why it makes this formation, but I'll read through. And if not, I'll go back and I'll tell you, and you're going to go, ew. But just know that these are extremely beneficial mushrooms, okay? So it's also known as Dong Chong Xia Cao. I think that's the right one. In China, meaning winter worm summer grass. Okay, so it's widely used in China, in Bhutan, in Nepal, and the northeast areas of India at about 3,500 to 5,000 meters above the sea level. It's found in the Tibetan Plateau of Asia and the Himalayas, and it's used as a tonic and medicinal food in traditional Chinese medicine, which I'll refer to as TCM. Used in China for hundreds of years for lung invigoration and kidney nourishment. I love their choice of words. All right, so various studies have shown that it's got beneficial roles as an adaptogenic, which means it helps your body to just adjust its biochemical balance, and the aphrodisiac, and it's an antioxidant, it's anti-aging due to all the nutrients and chemical compounds in it. Neuroprotective, it's actually been shown to protect the nervous system and protecting the mental functioning, also known as nootropic. And it's immunomodulatory, so it assists the immune system and it allows the immune system to determine whether it should attack some tissues or not. So sometimes an autoimmune disorder will attack the tissues because the immune system isn't programmed correctly, and that's due to nutrient deficiencies. Anti-cancer, so a lot of the chemical compounds will either directly destroy cancer cells or mobilize the immune system to help it determine what to do with those particular strange cells. Hepatoprotective, meaning it protects the liver. It contains potent bioactive principles, all these nucleosides and exopolysaccharides, sterols, proteins, and they've got active compounds, and this is the ribonucleosides, mannitol, sterols, organic acids, polysaccharides, proteins, polyamines, and amino acids, dipeptides. These are all, if you have ever taken chemistry, biology, then you can break those down and understand what those do. So that's another class, you know, this is not something I want to delve into right away, but just know that these are some very, very amazing compounds. And it's also got good sources of vitamins E and K. These are the fat-soluble vitamins, and the B1, B2, and B12 are the water-soluble vitamins, along with essential minerals, potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, iron, copper, manganese, zinc, and selenium. So these minerals are absorbed from the soil. So it depends on how nutrient rich the soils are. So that's why our regenerative and organic and permaculture farming methods are so important to make sure that we're getting these essential minerals into our diets. And vitamins are formed through the sun from the photosynthesis process. So there's always an abundance of vitamins because plants will, you know, convert that to vitamins for us. But it's the minerals that are so deficient in many of our plants in our farming methods. All right, so in vitro and in vivo studies have shown a wide range of biological actions in the renal, that is the kidneys, the immunologic and hepatic, nervous system, cardiovascular, and anti-cancer activity. So as you can see, these mushrooms, you can see that they have so much in common. A lot of the biochemical compounds may not be the exact ones, but they serve many purposes, and so they end up being very similar. So a lot of the research has shown the beneficial effects on blood glucose metabolism as a blood sugar regulating agent, demonstrating their anti-diabetes and anti-hyperglycemic actions. So and again, they help reduce too much sugar in the blood. A clinical study on patients who were hyperglycemic, they showed that 95% had better improvement in their blood sugar levels taking the cordyceps than the 54% who received mainstream medical treatment. And I've seen this over many, many years that I've been doing this. When you compare a plant with a medical drug, usually the plant outperforms the drug with no side effects. And this is what we love about plants. So also there are many anti-inflammatory compounds in this particular mushroom. Okay, so I didn't mention how it got here, but I'm going to tell you, don't be grossed out. Just think about all the nutrients and the medicinal properties and how long it's been saving lives for so long. So what happens was it actually invades an actual caterpillar. So it's like a parasite. So it just feeds off of a caterpillar, and then the caterpillar dies, and then it takes over and it just fills up the caterpillar outside, coating or shell or skin, and it ends up being the plant itself once the caterpillar matter has been dissolved and disintegrated and reduced back into the elements in the soil. So that's another reason why they are so nutritious. They've got a whole range of the essential amino acids that are proteins, because caterpillars are made out of protein, So, okay, so don't be grossed out by that, but I thought that was really interesting. And, some of us are not vegetarians. So even if you are, it becomes part of the plant, And so I just thought I would mention that. I hope that doesn't diminish your interest in this particular mushroom. I've been taking it for years and I never knew that until I read about that. Okay. Here's another page to the cordyceps. Okay, so it's been shown to be effective in preventing lung and kidney damage, and it decreases blood pressure and urinary protein. So diabetics can tell if they are a diabetic by the laboratory values showing that they've got protein in the urine. So it helps diminish that. It's been effective for asthma and chronic obstructive pulmonary disease and bronchitis. It's got other studies that have proved that it reduces fatigue and it boosts endurance in athletes and in older test subjects. So anyone who exercises will notice a boost in their energy levels. The historical performance of Chinese track and field women athletes at the Chinese National Games in Beijing in '93 attracted international attention to the caterpillar fungus Cordyceps sinensis. So it really has been shown not just in the laboratory or in studies, but also just out there, out in the world. Okay, the next one. It's really fun to see what these mushrooms actually look like. And you can see they're so different in their physiology, right? So the hedgehog goatee is actually the Hericium erinaceus. And this is what it looks like when it's growing off of a tree. And this is what it looks like when it's dried up. Okay, so it's commonly known as lion's mane also, and the Hericium erinaceus mushroom is widely documented as having effects that promote nerve and brain functioning. Different compounds, here we go, hericinones and erinacines have been shown to improve cognitive functioning in a 50 to 80-year-old Japanese, in 50 to 80-year-old Japanese patients, and they prevent the neurodegenerative conditions associated with abnormal aging. So I call it abnormal aging because there's people on the planet that have lived to be over 120 years old and they're still, active and they're healthy and they've got all their mental faculties. So the aging process that we see in our country and a lot of developed countries are due to nutrient deficiencies and toxicity, the environmental toxins and other factors, of course, but those are the two main reasons. So that's why so many people have neurodegenerative conditions, because their nervous systems are not nourished properly. Also, it is good for peripheral neuropathy, in other words, weakness or numbness or pain from nerve damage. And there's some preclinical studies that show promise, suggesting that the chemical compound can effectively reduce neurodegenerative conditions and be effective for cancer therapy. It's also been found that H. erinaceus enriched with erinacine A shows promise as an agent for stroke injury. So, and still other studies, there's a lot of studies that I had to compile here and compress for you here. Other studies indicate promise for those with Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. So when you see the last name of this Asian gentleman, or I think it was a gentleman, and the et al. That follows, that means there's a huge long string of researchers that participated in this research. Still other studies demonstrate the mushroom's antimicrobial, immune modulating, anti-hyperglycemic, antioxidant, and anti-aging actions. So all these nutrients contribute to the slower aging and the much more normal aging process. So the mushroom has also been shown to be anti-hypercholesterolemic. So in other words, it helps reduce cholesterol in the blood. Neuroprotective, protecting the nervous system and the brain, and antidepressant. So a lot of these biochemical compounds actually help your hormones so that they elevate your moods. And these are very important for people who are suffering from various levels of depression. So they're found to help recovery of motor and sensory functions after crush injuries. They do a lot of regenerating work. And it showed enhanced recognition memory through improved neurotransmission and neurogenesis in the areas of the brain called the hippocampus and the cerebellum. So neurotransmission, nerve transmission, where your nerve cells will transmit a signal throughout your body to indicate something, to signal the brain and let you know what's going on. Neurogenesis, meaning the development of new and healthy nerves. On to the shiitake, the Lentinus edodes. So the shiitake mushrooms, they look more like the kind that we buy at the grocery store, right? Especially in the dried form. But they have been shown to contain anti-tumor properties, and that's their stronghold there. The phytochemical compound lentinin has been shown to regress tumor formation in vitro in human colon carcinoma cell lines injected into mice. So, I personally am not for abusing animals for the sake of science, but in this particular study, they did show how once a mouse mice were injected with these cancer cell lines, then the shiitake mushroom came to the rescue. So there was a significant reduction in tumor size occurred in laboratory mice fed the lentinin itself, so that extract itself. The polysaccharides in the L. edodes exhibited antioxidant capabilities against reactive oxygen species. This is one of the scavenging molecules that the body produces under stress that will do a lot of damage to healthy cells. And scavenging hydroxyl and superoxide free radicals as well. There's so many different free radicals that are too numerous to mention here, but those are the ones that were mentioned in the study. To protect the body from the many health hazards that free radicals pose. So the shiitake contains proven pharmacological properties and is used for conditions such as depressed immune function, cancer, environmental allergies, fungal infections, flus and colds, bronchial inflammation, heart disease, hyperlipidemia, which is the too high amounts of fats in the blood, high blood cholesterol, hypertension, high blood pressure, infectious diseases, diabetes, hepatitis, and problems with urinary inconsistencies. So it addresses the kidneys as well. Well-studied recipes that include the polysaccharide lentinin, lectins, and aritidenine and mycelium. So I think that's an incomplete sentence, but what I wanted to say was a lot of these Asian formulas that includes, and a lot of these studies, they include a lot of these extracts to perform these studies. So they're shown to be antibiotic, anti-carcinogenic, anti-cancer, antiviral. Reviews of shiitake research concluded that this macrofungus is unquestionably the most in the most important areas of applied biotechnology. So it's been studied intensely, all of these mushrooms have, and for many, many years. And so the conclusion is that these mushrooms can address a variety of health issues, and the drug industry is actually looking into these extracts for use in many of their medications. So we have the maitake, the Grifola frondosa, and that's popular in Japan. It's known as the hen of the woods. It does look like a bunch of hen feathers there. And then it's also called a sheep's head or the ram's head. The maitake has drawn interest due to its anti-inflammatory, antimicrobial, anti-diabetic, cardioprotective, it protects the heart, hepatoprotective, it protects the liver, and anti-cancer properties. The mushrooms are known for their properties demonstrating their effect on boosting the immune system's efficiency through enhancing the actions of the different types of white blood cells, the macrophages, the T cells, the dendritic cells, natural killer cells, hematopoietic stem cell functions. So we've got all these different types of immune cells that I showed you the diagram on the first page that do different functions in the body. Some will eat up cancer cells, some will work and destroy and disassemble, things that are invasive like bacteria and other viruses. So your immune system is constantly at work protecting you from your environment. If you've got toxic pollutants that you're inhaling or drinking or eating, and some of your pesticides of your foods. So your body's always working to eliminate these foreign invasions. So the maitake is also a rich source of protein, and I don't know the amino acid breakdown of that, but different plants have different amino acids. They don't always have the same all essential 8 amino acids in one plant, but some of the mushrooms definitely do have all 8 of them, which is pretty rare in the plant kingdom. So they also have a tremendous amount of very beneficial types of fiber and a range of the vitamins as well. So I just thought I would throw in, since the mushrooms are so high in the polysaccharides category, I will show you here that they are anti-tumoral, antimicrobial, they modulate the immune cells, and they're antioxidants. So they work for your body to improve your immune system and to eliminate toxins. So you can read all about that. This will be, I didn't get a chance to upload it or download it to my website yet because I worked until 2 in the morning last night to finish these up, and I just barely converted them to PDFs this morning. So I will be up, is it upload or download? I never could get that straight, to my website, so that, and then I can send the link to Lucy and she can share that on the Facebook page for everyone. You can print these out. Okay, so yeah, this just tells all the beneficial health effects of the polysaccharide, and that's just one classification. I created this massive phytonutrient database that I'm constantly adding to of all the different types, the thousands of plant chemicals that are in nature that scientists are continually discovering. And then the other ingredient in this formulation is the hydroxypropyl methylcellulose, HPMC. So it's harmless, there's it's used as a vegetable capsule shell rather than an animal-derived, collagen or gelatin type of capsules that the supplement industry uses. So this is derived from plant cellulose fiber, and it's not absorbed in the body, just like a lot of plant fibers are not. They sweep out the intestines and they clean you out. So that's pretty much all the ingredients in this formulation. All right, so I guess we'll go on to the next one, Lucy. Alina.
Mm-hmm. Very good. We see it. Perfect.
Okay, awesome. So this is the longer one. I think it has 10 ingredients, and it looks like we've been at it for 30 minutes. So I'll try to, I know I'm talking fast, but I really want to cover all of this for you all. So let me go ahead and give you a better view here. All right, so the Forsythia 10, the Asian recipe is called Yin Chiao San, and it removes pathogenic wind from the muscle layer, harmonizes, strengthens defensive qi, eliminates wind, heats, and releases toxins. And this is taken from the Ethno website. So this recipe has been historically used for the respiratory tract, dating back to the Qing dynasty back in 1644 to 1911. And so this formulation addresses the respiratory system. And so, you inhale the air, and it goes down to the trachea, and it goes down to the lungs, and you'll see all the different, the bronchioles, the bronchus, the bronchioles, and the air passages get smaller and smaller, all the way down to the exchange where gaseous exchanges oxygen, is exchanged CO2. As you inhale oxygen. And then at this level right here, so this is the enlarged picture of this little tiny spot right here. And so the arrow goes to this big enlarged picture. So Air comes through the bronchioles. It's circulated through the alveoli. They're little grape-like looking sacs, and these are extremely microscopic, as you could imagine. And right here in these capillaries is where oxygen is converted to CO2, and CO2 is transferred back out, and you are exhaling CO2. Okay, so this is how it works. You inhale oxygen, you exhale CO2, and this is where it takes place. It's really sad when someone inhales particles that cannot be expelled at this level, and that it's terminal. If you inhale jagged crystals of like microcrystalline cellulose, or if you're in a work area and you inhale asbestos, I mean, this is really terrible. You've got to protect your lungs at all costs. So you take a little tiny area of the alveoli here, this cutaway, then they enlarge that for us. So you can see how the air exchange is taking place at a very small, minute level. And that's very important to keep your lungs healthy. And your blood vessels, of course. Okay, so it's also, this formulation also addresses the immune system. And like I pointed out earlier, this is a slightly larger, and then I found a better picture of in more detail of what happens in your immune system. So we've got ability to produce immune cells in different areas of the body, even in our small intestines. There are little things called Peyer's patches that the body produces immune cells from. So it's coming from everywhere. Your body's constantly monitoring your system. And here's an enlargement of the different types of immune cells your body produces. And then I just put a link there. This link right here actually explains it a lot better in more detail if you want to take a look at the functions of the immune cells. And this is where you'll be able to go to the website to get the PDF to download of this document too. Okay, here's the table of contents. So the first ingredient is the Japanese honeysuckle flower extract, the Lonicera japonica thunb. Now, when you see this distinction at the end, it's usually named after someone who has contributed a great deal to the knowledge base of a particular plant. So they're named after that person. It's abbreviated. So I don't know the rest of his last name. I forget. I think it's Thunberg or something. But that's the name of that distinction right there. But basically, we're talking about the Lonicera and the japonica class. So I'm going to call it the Japanese honeysuckle here. It's used for thousands of years in China, and it's known as Jin Yin Hua, and also known as Ren Dong. It's listed in the Pharmacopoeia of the People's Republic of China since 1995, and with over 500 recipes containing the L. japonica. So it was used for febrile conditions, in other words, fever, nasal discharges, yellow phlegm, which indicates infection, and sores, carbuncles, and some infectious conditions. So the carbuncles are full of the white blood cells, so they're white and they're pussed, and so you've got a bunch of them that are the boils that are formed into a larger mass, and it's called the carbuncles. So these are all infectious conditions. It's become naturalized. It was brought to Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Mexico, New Zealand, and the United States. It's more than 140 phytochemical compounds that have been found so far, and with a wide range of many pharmacological actions. So it has all these wonderful biochemical compounds. Essential oils are another class of massive molecules. All of these phytochemical compounds are massive as far as the micro world goes. So as your body disassembles them and determines what to do with them, or sometimes it leaves them all intact and uses them directly for other things in the immune system functioning, or repair functions, or formation of hormones. So your body utilizes everything. It's very frugal in what you give it, and it'll use every single molecule that you give it. Okay, so organic acids is another classification. Plants have them. We humans make them. They are very important in the energy production cycles and all sorts of other biochemical processes. And the class of flavones, that's a huge classification of phytochemical compounds also. So this particular mushroom, it's been found that it's got 140 compounds. And that doesn't mean that it's a thorough study. They're constantly, discovering more and more of these compounds as time goes on. So the modern pharmacological studies show that the honeysuckle contains all these different active principles. It's been shown to be anti-inflammatory, antiviral, particularly for these types of viruses right here, and proven to be effective against other viruses. These are the other viruses that they have found that it destroys. In 2003, the honeysuckle was the most popular TCM against the SARS coronavirus in China. It's antibacterial. It works against E. coli and the Sarcina luteus and the Bacillus subtilis, the staph infections, all these different types of familiar infections that people have gotten from time to time, because you get it from food poisoning, or you get it from infection, being infected by someone else, breathing in their air, things like that. So these are common bacteria, but they work very efficiently against them, or rather the honeysuckle mushroom does. It's also an anti-endotoxin, it's antipyretic, and it helps reduce blood lipid levels. So it helps you get rid of the excess fats in your bloodstream. So this is what it looks like here. Very fragrant. I don't know if any of you have had it in your gardens before, but it's really fragrant. And it's an edible flower, of course. So it's shown to have liver protective activities. And so these are all, I'm not going to read them to you. It's got all these compounds in it and all of these different minerals in it. And so it also has a very special feature. It inhibits the inflammatory COX-1 and COX-2 proteins. So when you've been injured, or if you have an autoimmune disorder, then your immune system develops these and sends these inflammatory proteins to the area of infection or inflammation. But if your immune system doesn't know how to turn it off, then that is a chronic problem, a chronic health issue like arthritis and different inflammatory health issues. So this mushroom is very effective, or rather this flower is very effective for helping that. So it's also been shown to be very beneficial as a chemopreventive agent, meaning your symptoms won't be as severe if you're undergoing chemotherapy. It's been shown to induce cancer cell destruction in lung cancer cells. It shows anti-hyperlipidemic properties. It reduces or prevents high blood lipids. It demonstrates antithrombotic activity. So it protects the blood vessels against damage, and therefore the formation of clots that would impede blood flow that lead to stroke or heart attack. So now we have the golden bell fruit extract, the Forsythia suspensa. Really beautiful flower there. It's a common traditional botanical in China, Japan, and Korea. It's used for pyrexia, which is an elevated body temperature or fever, inflammation, gonorrhea, or carbuncles, erysipelas, which is a bacterial skin infection. Classical Chinese herbal texts and pharmacopoeia state that F. suspensa is heat clearing and detoxifying. It has a bitter flavor, is slightly cold nature, addresses the lung meridian. This is all Chinese medicine jargon. Science has identified more than 230 phytochemical compounds. At least 211 have been isolated from the fruits meaning the flowers. Fruit compounds that have exhibited anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, antibacterial, antivirus, anti-cancer, anti-allergy. All of these different compounds will address all of these different issues. So antiviral, antibacterial, anti-cancer, I feel like I'm repeating myself now because all these wonderful compounds do address all these different body systems and all these problems. They also protect the nerves due to the detoxifying effects of the lignans and the phenylethanoid glycosides. So, all these compounds, if you do your research on every single one of these compounds, you have a wide range of research on these compounds as well. They're so impressive and it's really exciting. You can get lost in the scientific literature. Another study isolated 8 new diterpenoids, 3 new lignans, and iridoids, and a triterpenoid. I mean, the list goes on. The more and more these botanicals are being studied. Okay, so So this one study talks about how rats were fed the F. suspensa, and the net effect inhibited the inflammatory response against liver injury. So you've got individual studies, you've got peer-reviewed studies, and you've got what are called meta studies, which are statistical studies. They examine the numbers and they come up with all these graphs and charts and things like that. So a lot of these botanicals have been studied very extensively for their effects. So here's another team of researchers that studied the F. suspensa for about 4 weeks, and they found all of these benefits: decreasing blood sugar, improving levels of insulin secretion by the pancreas. So when you take in too much blood sugar, your pancreas goes to work and produces insulin, secretes it into the bloodstream so that it'll take up those sugar molecules and put them in, store them, in one way or another, just to get them out of the bloodstream. And then decrease triglycerides, your blood lipids, and triglycerides that form in the liver. So you don't have to worry about fatty liver. It lowers the total cholesterol. So you've got all of these wonderful things that's going on from this particular botanical. So, basically blood sugar and diabetes is what it benefits a lot. So then we have the Chinese field mint herb extract, which is the Mentha haplocalyx brick, and someone named Briquette, I remember his name, Briquette, apparently did a lot of research on this particular botanical. So a traditional Chinese medicine widely used in the southwest area of China. And it's as a traditional Chinese medicine, it's used in Chinese clinics for conditions in the nervous system, the respiratory, reproductive, and digestive systems. It's also used in food and cosmetics. Here's the biological actions. Again, it destroys all types of microbes, bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites. And it's anti-inflammatory, antioxidant, anti-tumoral, protects the gastrointestinal tract, protects the liver. So, all these viable beneficial compounds that it has. It's also got the polyphenolics and the flavonoids, the monoterpenoids, and the glycosides. Again, huge classifications. There's many subclasses under these. We've got other findings that they found that it controlled the excess blood sugar, the monoterpene glucosides, and the ionone glycosides in this particular plant. So they were found to downregulate the alpha glucosidase enzyme that the body produces, which is involved in the process of converting a starch like glycogen that you store in your muscles to a simple sugar like glucose, which is the blood sugar that circulates and nourishes the brain, So the glucosidase enzymes reduce large starch molecules to simple glucose sugar molecules during digestion, leading to a temporary increase in blood sugar levels. So that's what that alpha glucosidase enzyme does. So it breaks down the starches and it produces more blood sugar. So that can be a problem for diabetes. So this particular botanical will go in and help regulate that blood sugar. So now we have the balloon flower root extract, the Platycodon grandiflorus. Beautiful purple there. So they're using the root, and this is what the dried root looks like over here on the right. So as a food, Korea's annual domestic consumption of this beautiful flower and this wonderful root as of 2001 was over 4,000 tons. So the roots are cultivated for 4 years before harvesting. So as they gather up more and more nutrients from the soil, they are more and more potent. The Koreans use the P. grandiflorus for bronchitis, asthma, diabetes, inflammatory diseases, and tuberculosis. In TCM, it's used as an expectorant and for coughs, colds, chest congestion, sore throats, and tonsillitis, any kind of inflammatory problem in the respiratory system. The root contains a wide array and concentrations of antioxidant phytochemical compounds known as saponins. Now, these saponins are world famous too, and look at all the things that saponins do. Again, a large classification with many subclassifications are the saponins. So the roots contain, and this plant contains 24 kinds of triterpenoid saponins, including platycodon A, C, D, D2, D, and D2. So as you get smaller and smaller in the micro world of the body and in the plant world, it's amazing that scientists have named literally millions of these compounds. And so it's really hard to keep track of all of them. But as these come up, with more and more research, there is even more categories and classifications. So It will destroy cancer cells. That's what cytotoxic means, for destroying cancer cells. Protects the nervous system. All the different types of these plant compounds will go in and assist the nerve transmission and brain functioning, and the hormones that communicate with the nervous system to generate, mental health and emotional health, emotional balance, things like that. So the nervous system is very important there. Antiviral, anti-ulcerogenic, so it will prevent ulcers from forming. Cholesterol lowering effects with fecal excretion of bile acids in fat metabolism, and therefore lowering blood lipid and cholesterol levels. So what happens when you take in a lot of fats, then your bile acids are secreted, and that will help bind to the fat molecules and help your body utilize them in various ways or excrete them. So this particular botanical helps excrete a lot of the excess fats that you might take in, thereby lowering the blood lipid and cholesterol levels. It also protects against diabetic retinopathy, which is the blood vessel damage in the retina behind the eye. So these tissues behind the eye are protected. And so the saponins are wonderful, aren't they? The P. glandiflorus was shown to prevent tumor cell metastasis. In other words, preventing the tumors from spreading to other areas of the body. And it's shown to have protective effects against ischemia or perfusion injury. This is cell dysfunction or cell death. And to prevent dental caries, cavities. So also it has platycosides, and they show strong potential according to the research against cancer, and therefore against different types of cancer cells, and against the onset of Alzheimer, which is a problem with the nerve cells, as potential neuroprotective agents. So the platycosides are at work for us there too. And the platyscodon saponins, you combine those two, they have a synergistic effect, and they are great for addressing obesity and metabolic syndrome issues. And metabolic syndrome includes high fats in the diet, therefore hyperlipidemia, hypertension, diabetes. They've got anti-inflammatory activity and anti-allergy activity, so they help the immune system as well there. So there's more and more. I mean, this is, it was really hard to summarize because like I say, the scientific data is so overwhelming. So like I said, the immune system, they destroy cancer cells, they protect against liver toxicity. They will actually bind to chemical toxins and help the body eliminate them. And they have different kinds of very good for you carbohydrates. So the P. grandiflorus flower has the monosaccharides, which is the glucose and fructose, the smaller sugar molecules, so easily digested. Disaccharides, these are the more complex sugars that have been shown to have very effective, they help the metabolism and they help the immune system. I mean, they just are great sources of carbs. So they don't have as many calories, so that's what's good about them. So these are just compounds that are in these different types of flowers and other types of plants. So we have they're effective against cell damaging free radicals that lead to all these damage to our protein in the body, all of our lipids, our fats in the body, and any kind of damage to our genetic code in our DNA. Okay, so these are the different types of free radicals that are produced in the body for one reason or another. And this botanical will help attenuate and eliminate or neutralize these free radicals. So it's all done at the electron atomic scale. These things are happening so that we can neutralize all these toxins in our bodies. It's also found to be effective against bacteria. And these are the different types of bacterial infections and all the bacteria that causes these infections, I should say. So also against any kind of food-borne bacteria. Okay, so we've got burdock fruit extract, and that's the Arctium lapa L. It's used in Europe, Asia, North America for hundreds of years. We have the roots, seeds, and leaves that have been studied since it's so popular in TCM. It's found to improve blood circulation to the skin and improve skin quality. Helps alleviate all sorts of skin conditions like eczema. It's an antioxidant, anti-diabetic, all the phytonutrient compounds in this one. Has shown to have anti-inflammatory actions and to inhibit the growth of tumors, such as pancreatic cancer. And these are all, what I'm stating here is all from in the scientific literature. So you can go into the literature and see how I summarized all of this. It has other active compounds that inhibit the proliferation of all these different types of illness-causing, microorganisms, be they bacteria or fungus or all these different types of microorganisms. Gosh, they're too numerous to name here. So practitioners in non-Western medical systems around the world have reported positive uses for cancers, diabetes, and AIDS. So the scientific literature is all over the place in studying the benefits of this fruit, of the flower, that is. So one study examined the performance of one of A-Lapa-L's phytochemical compound, artigenin, and against various cancer cell lines. So it was cytotoxic, destroyed the cancer cells in vitro, and prevented them from proliferating. And so they tested this against lung, stomach, and liver cancer cell lines in the laboratory. A team of researchers tested the molecular compound artigenin in this flower, already known for its anti-tumoral and anti-inflammatory actions, and further found that it helps the regulation of all these different metabolic actions in the nervous system signaling pathways. So communications between nerve cell to nerve cell throughout the body. These signaling pathways, the nutrient supply and energy needs are the main function of this particular pathway. It's been shown to balance blood sugar levels and lipid level profiles and blood pressure. And it stimulates the glucose uptake into the muscle cells. It inhibits gluconeogenesis and lipid synthesis in liver cells. So you don't want excess blood sugar, and you don't want your poor liver to be overloaded, because when you have excess blood sugar in the bloodstream, it immediately has to take it out somehow. So if the pancreas is overloaded and trying to secrete as much insulin in the blood as possible, then there's other ways to get that sugar out of the blood. Your body converts it to triglycerides, and it stores them as fats under the skin or in the liver. So excess dietary fats will cause fatty liver. So this particular botanical will help, just reduce that overburden of the liver. All right, so here we go. Fermented soybean extract, the Semen Soja preparatum. So this is a very well-known botanical in the world. So the fermentation of foods has been important in human life for centuries. In soybeans, we have the fermentation process that increases certain bioactivities that enhances one's health. So it intensifies the nutrient value of many foods when you ferment them. An important component in traditional Chinese medicine, many researchers have focused on the active compounds, which actions are increased after fermentation. So it increases the antioxidative activity, blood sugar balancing, anti-aglucosidase effect that I mentioned earlier, and the anti-hypertensive effects, reduces the high blood pressure, anti-proliferative activity, so it does not allow a lot of the unwanted types of cells that form in the body. The body is constantly eliminating cells that aren't replicated properly or are potentially cancerous, things like that. So the immune system stays on top of that usually. So this is also a boost for the immune system in that way. So, so the soybean extract, fermented that is, yes, it has the active compounds like the isoflavones. These are a class of phytonutrient compounds that have estrogen-like activity. And there is a lot of controversy about that, which I will cover right now. Let's get the story straight on soy. So the isoflavones, some of them are the diazins, the genisteins, and the glycetines. Peptides, those are short strings of 2 to 50 amino acid molecules that form different protein molecules. So proteins are various amounts of amino acids. So it depends if it's a large protein molecule or a really small protein molecule like the peptides are. Also, it has a great class of the oligosaccharides and many essential fatty acids. These are all very essential for nervous system health and for brain functioning. Gosh, it just goes on and on what your body can use with these amounts of nutrients. Aspartic acid, so that's one of the amino acids that we use to build new body proteins. The methyl arginine, it's a derivative of the amino acid arginine. So if you're not taking in your full range of amino acids, including the arginine, then you won't be able to produce the methyl arginine. So the larger the molecules, the more effective they're going to be, and the more your body has to choose from as to how it's going to use these molecules. And they're pansystemic. You know, your body will repurpose amino acids and either reduce a protein or build up a new one. So it's constantly very dynamically moving to maintain your body. And also it has a sugar alcohol named sorbitol. So soy, because of the abundant amounts of evidence that it offers many health benefits, it's undergone very rigorous investigations for over 25 years and over 2,000 peer-reviewed, year-published articles related to the prevention of chronic disease. There's some scientific evidence of isoflavones reducing the risk of coronary heart disease and breast and prostate cancer. The isoflavones have been shown to alleviate hot flashes. There's a lot of pluses for soy. Some studies indicate that isoflavones may benefit renal or kidney function, improve skin health, and alleviate depressive symptoms. So, and still, soybean isoflavones, also known as phytoestrogens, plant estrogens, that act in similar ways as when our bodies produce estrogens, and that includes males and females, have a chemical structure similar to the estrogen hormone. However, concerns that soy might influence estrogen levels are based primarily on animal studies. So anytime you have, and this is what irresponsible reporting or unqualified information reaches the public. There has always been a scare about, oh, you know, don't take too much soy because it has too many plant estrogens. Okay, so let's get the story straight. According to all of this scientific literature and all these reports that have been going on for 25 years. So if it's an animal study, it's not always the same metabolism. I mean, I know that the rodents have very similar metabolisms to humans, but that doesn't mean that it will be exactly the same in a human. So human research has supported the safety and benefits of soy. So when you have had human test subjects, males and females, apparently, accumulation of all of these different types of studies that have come together have shown that it's not as bad as people think. Okay, so yeah, I could go off on another tangent, but I'm going to go on for now. So if anybody has any questions and anything that I've said today, I'd be happy to answer it and be more elaborative about them. So soy is low in carbohydrates, which is found to be advantageous for diabetes. It does have some carbs. It is a bean, but it's not as high in carbs as other carbohydrate foods. So soybeans consist of mostly stachyose, a beneficial oligosaccharide that travels to the colon and nourishes the beneficial bifidobacteria in the colon. So you've got anaerobic beneficial bacteria going on. And excuse me, I'll eliminate that window that popped up here. Okay, so it's important to maintain colon health with the right types of botanicals and the right types of fibers and other things like the oligosaccharides that end up in the colon to nourish the beneficial bacteria. So you want to maintain good colon health with soybeans. Soybeans contain various types of beneficial fatty acids, and that includes the plant saturated, monounsaturated, and polyunsaturated fatty acids. These are different types of molecules that the body uses for different functions, and they're very, very important. They're all precursors for all of the tens of thousands of hormones that your body produces, and not just the reproductive hormones. Hormones stop and start and regulate all these different processes in the body, and they communicate with the nervous system as well. So the soy PUFAs include omega-6 linoleic acid, the alpha-linolenic acid, essential omega-3 fatty acid, and many, many others. So I just listed the most common there. Soy has vitamins and minerals, and especially potassium, which is important for water balance. So anyone who takes in too much sodium should balance it off with a high potassium-rich food. And it's also a good source of calcium and iron. And soy contains phytate and oxalate, which are compounds known to inhibit mineral absorption. A lot of the greens have oxalates, but if you eat them along with other foods that balance it out and allow your body to utilize and break things down better in spite of the oxalate and phytate compounds present, then you won't have a problem with these foods. So soy has a built-in counterbalance there. Its calcium is actually absorbed quite well because of the soy flavones are almost all glycosides, and these actions are able to increase the mineral absorption, which contributes to bone health. So soy, all in all, has a net effect, beneficial effect for your bone health. So there's a comprehensive multi-year investigation of the vast amount of scientific literature on soy's estrogen-like properties, and they concluded that isoflavones do not adversely affect the breast, thyroid, and uterus, nor do they increase the risk of breast of endometrial cancer. So that scientific literature, all those findings after all those years, after careful examination, will totally dissipate all of the misinformation out there. So always check the scientific literature and see what is known over time. So one group of scientists may find something that counters another group of scientists that tested the very exact same thing. So you have to look at science over time in order to determine it, and let the experts gather them all up and review it for us. And they're very qualified. These are PhDs. These are our industry experts, that have been around and have contributed to the base of knowledge of science and particular botanicals. So these are more credible than the average article that you'll see on the internet. So always look for the science. Okay. So investigations also concluded, and clinical samples show that isoflavones should not be equated with the hormone estrogen. So isoflavones are one of the many types of different compounds in it, and they're not all going to have the effect that estrogen does in the body. So the body knows what to do when it sees an array of molecules coming in. It will decide what it needs and what it does not. And so these are protein molecules, a lot of them. So they will be disassembled if the body doesn't need an extra amount of estrogen, and that goes for the males as well. So it's been found to have hypocholesterolemic, cholesterol lowering effects, has been found to help lower blood pressure. It's hypotensive. And I talked about meta-analysis earlier about how they will take all these numbers and statistics and put together all these reports and they get very, very intricate. They're all mathematical. So you'll have to look at one sometime to understand what that means. So we've got the soybean isoflavones have been found to improve endothelium functioning in postmenopausal women. So endothelium is the membrane that lines the heart and the blood vessels. And so it makes menopausal women more at risk for developing coronary heart disease, which is the narrowing of the arteries. So a review of 5 studies helped conclude that isoflavones reduce arterial stiffness. Okay, so this is what the isoflavones in the whole food of soy does. So the extracts are important, and you have to know which extracts do what. Okay, so that's important to do a little bit of homework there as far as the different types of chemical compounds in soy, so you can understand what they each do for you. Okay. Again, I'm trying to stay on track. Breast cancer incidence rates in soy food consumption in various countries are lower in Western countries. The westernization of Asian countries has increased breast cancer rates, and investigations on countless studies have concluded that neither soy nor isoflavone intakes affect testosterone levels in men. And there it is, okay? So again, the science is so important to understanding the controversies over things that people argue about. And you'll see, one study did this and one study did that. Yes, these are one study. Look at all of them and look at what the experts that have compiled all these studies have concluded too. And you can do this yourself. You can go through literally, hundreds of studies and sort it all out and come to the same conclusion. But luckily, we've got a lot of experts that review these things for us. So, okay. So in the 2 reported cases about alleged female feminization effects, both individuals were said to have consumed 360 milligrams a day. So we've got isolated cases, and usually it's because of overconsumption, just too much of a good thing. And that's 9 times greater than the average intake among older Japanese men who eat soy all the time. All other clinical studies found no negative effects on estrogen levels in men who consumed up to 150 milligrams of isoflavones per day. However, excess consumption of any food can potentially result in abnormalities. And that's quoting what they said in the article. Another review and meta-analysis of two different reviews. One was meta and the other one was just a systematic review of all the research, found no effects on male testosterone and other markers from soy protein or isoflavone intake. Okay, so too much of a good thing, and everything in moderation, because the health benefits that soy offers are tremendous. Concerns for adverse thyroid effects stem from in vitro research and studies where rodents received concentrations of isolated isoflavones. Okay, so in 2006, another review, total evidence from 14 trials found that neither soy foods nor isoflavones had adverse effects on men or women with normally functioning thyroid glands. So the current reviews show that isoflavone supplements don't affect thyroid function in postmenopausal women. And there it is. You've got all of this research, put it all together, and this is what you come up with.
Esther, how many more ingredients do we have left?
Yeah, that's we're getting down there. So we've got the licorice and the catmint and the reed and the bamboo. Yeah, I thought we were closer. So we've got 4 more to go. Would you like to end here, or what should we do?
Yeah, maybe just like a little very short summary over all the others, because it's almost it will be an hour and a half, so just a short summary over the rest of the.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at the clock and I thought we started at 12:17, so I was thinking we were 5 minutes over.
Yes,
okay.
yes. I mean, we have a little bit. We started late. Yes, a little bit of time, because there's
okay. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the soy was a really long one, and I think the others are pretty short, but yeah, I'll try to keep it shorter. Try to wrap this up here. So then we've got the licorice, the urol licorice root extract, the Glycyrrhiza urulensis fish. Okay, so we've got the history, and we've got the polysaccharides that we've talked about, and the polyphenols, anti-carcinogenic, and this goes into the details as to the types of cancer cells that have been inhibited by the compounds in this botanical. And then we've got anti-inflammatory, antibacterial effects of a particular compound, lauricidin. And then this one discusses the controversy over glycyrrhizin. And so this particular plant does not have glycyrrhizin in it. So a lot of people are concerned about the high blood pressure effects of the glycyrrhizin. But this particular one, I guess because it's in the same plant class, it's classified in as if it looks like it has it, but according to the literature, it says it does not have this particular one. So we don't have to worry about high blood pressure on this particular one. Okay, so that was a real short one. And then the catmint, again, the history where it's used. And basically it helps modulate the immune system, and it helps with skin problems, all sorts of skin problems, and then the respiratory problems, and it's antiviral, both in laboratory studies and in live subjects, especially this particular virus here. And then another study, there weren't that many studies on these last few, so fortunately for us in our time limits here, but I'm surprised, that in fact, a lot of times the researchers will conclude that more research is needed. So there's the field is wide open still for a lot of these botanicals to discover more and more about them. But this one in particular, catmint, I should say, is, I'm just going through here. Okay, so this prevents clots and it protects your blood vessels. Okay, then it talks about a little bit about how those blood clots are formed and which ones are dangerous and which ones aren't, because it's the body's immune response to clot so that you won't bleed to death when you're injured, but it has to know when to dissipate those safely. But over time, sometimes the immune system is confused, doesn't know what to do. So it keeps, it does not help dissolve those plaques in time. So that's why people are in danger sometimes for stroke or any kind of heart attack, and things like that, or embolism, which cause strokes. All right, so that's that. Then we've got the reed rhizome. Okay, so let's take a look at that one. It's full of plant steroids, which are precursors to all of our hormones that the body makes, and immune system. Of course, anti-carcinogenic, most of the plants are. They kill all the microbes that aren't supposed to be in the body. They're even insect repellents. All right, so, oh yeah, okay, so this one is the one that helps the athletes to promote muscle growth. And so, excuse me while I continue reading here. So yeah, it talks about the nutrient value for building muscle. Okay, anti-cancer, it looks like, yeah, reducing the stress hormones, or the I'm still reading, sorry, the ROS, which is the reactive oxygen species, one of the free radicals that the body does not like, needs to get rid of. So the bamboo leaf extract, that's the last one. I think so, yeah, it is. Okay, so bamboo leaf extract, now that's, it's got all sorts of biochemical compounds in the scientific literature, antiviral. Good for the stomach, addresses the heart, and they're used for mouth sores, swollen gums, pharyngitis, anti-inflammatory, and destroys the common illness, food poisoning bacteria. Okay, and so this is all the scientific literature that you can, at your leisure, take a look at. So I'm going to be stating this at the end from now on. This information in this report is for educational purposes only and is not meant to replace medical advice or any prescribed medical protocol. It has not been evaluated by the FDA, not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. So that's what's required of us when we talk about, even though it's substantiated scientifically, what these botanicals do. And I in no way am associating this with any particular product. Only that these formulations do contain these botanicals, and I'm just a researcher who will present, what these botanicals do for the body, and it's well substantiated. I'm making no medical claims here. I'm just quoting the science. And that pretty much wraps it up.
Oh, wow. Wow, this is such an excellent presentation. So thorough, Esther. And I'm so excited that we have access to this amazing ingredients through our products. The mushroom power is something that everyone must have in their cupboard. And it's on sale this month of March for 36.90 euros. And the regular price of this product is 44.90 euros. Okay, and the Forsythiae is something that I have, and I've been taking this on a daily basis. This amazing, super powerful recipe makes a delicious tea. So just I mix half a teaspoon with a cup of hot water, and I absolutely enjoy it. It's so aromatic and tasty. And so, and it does all this, it has all this amazing ingredients with all this incredible science behind it. So the Forsythiae 10 is on sale for the entire spring for $49.90, and the regular price of this product is $69.90. So take advantage of that, reach out to us, let us know if this is something that you wanted to experience as well. So, and I would like to also invite everyone to tomorrow's event. We will make it a team meeting. We'll talk about how to invite. We'll have a presentation on invitations, how to make an invitation, a powerful invitation that the people will look at the information or show up at the events. And with that said, you're welcome to open your microphone while Esther is with us, still here today. Please ask her questions if you have any. And so everyone, has received this powerful information. You've answered all the details throughout your presentation, and you can access this presentation on Esther's website, and we will be also posting it in our group on Facebook. Okay, so if you're not in our Facebook group, please reach out to the person who invited you, or to reach out to us, to myself, to Elena, or to Esther, and we'll be happy to invite you.
Yes, I've converted the document to PDF and I will upload it to my website. And so give me, another hour and I will definitely have that on the website. So just go to holisticchoices.com, and on the left you can see supplements, and just click on supplements and you'll see it right there on that page. Just scroll down a little bit and you'll see all the other PDFs that we've put up so far.
Thank you very much. And
thank you very much. Thanks for hanging in there, everyone. I know it's information overwhelm. It's really hard to shorten all this information.
But oh boy, it makes me so excited. I'm sure everyone else is excited to have access to this amazing ingredients.
Yeah.
Through our product. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Thank you so much, Esther. It was a lot of information and great information. So we will be definitely researching more and reading more and learning all these ingredients.
Yes.
It's a lot of information. Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for being here, everybody.
Thank you so much, Esther. Great presentation. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate you so much, Esther. Thank you.
Thank you. We've got to make the world better. We've got to make it healthier. So this is what we're doing.
Yes. Definitely. Well, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Pacific
Thank you.
time.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye.
you, Georgina.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you, Esther.
Bye. You're welcome.